Hi and welcome back to Steph's Veg. It's day 20 and I'm back down the allotment. I don't know if you've seen the other videos, but I was very disappointed with the onions that I planted from seed. So the next day I came down and they'd all died. So I've actually gone out and bought some sets. So I'm going to be putting these in today where the onions were. And also I'm going to be sowing some lettuces and some radish and some spring onions. So I'm not going to be doing too many of them because I'm going to sow them in succession, so you're not going to get them all grown at once. So I'll start off with these. Right, I've got my drill and I've got the auger. This is a different size one to what I use for the potatoes. I'm just going to make a hole for the onions, probably every 4 inches. A lot easier than digging a hole and putting them in, so off we go. Right, I'm just going to make a small hole. It doesn't need to be deep. Just like that. About 4 inches apart. So I'll do a row by row. Right. And then these ones are called Stuttgarter Giant. These are the brown onions. Right, just take them out. Not sure how many there's going to be, but I'll just make as many holes as how many I've got. And then you just get the onion. So you've got the root bit going at the bottom and the pointy bit to the top. Just put it in so the top of the onion is just barely visible. And just pop it in like that. And just keep going. Okay, I'll crack on with these and show you when I've finished. Yes, I was really gutted that these didn't grow. I did sow some more, which are in my greenhouse, which I'll then end up having to plant at home. So see how they go. So there we go. Anyway, I've done all the brown onions. So next I'm going to be doing my red Baron, the red onions, ideal for salads in the summer. So same principle, get the drill and just make holes and put them down. Some of the onions are smaller than what I thought they were going to be, so you can't always make sure that the tip is going to show through. So I just put them in and rake over and hope for the best that they grow up. So I'll crack on with these ones. that's the last one in. That's 50 red onions and 48 brown onions in there. But we'll see if they all come up. Right, now I've got to go and get the rake and give it a light raking. So just give it a light rake. Don't go too mad, because otherwise you'll end up pulling the bulbs back out. Right, once I've done this, I'm not going to water it just yet. I'm going to water when I water the rest of the veg. But my next job, I'm going to do my beetroots. I'm going to sow them now, because that's 2 weeks ago when I put the fish blood and bone down. So you can sow 2 weeks after scattering some of that over, so they can now go out. So that's my next job. Anyway, I haven't scattered any more onion feed over, because I did it when I planted the other onions, so I don't want to overfeed it. Hopefully it's still going to be in there to feed these ones. Got my labels, Stuttgarter Red Baron, and I'm just going to pop them in so I know that side's the brown onion and this side's the red onion. So I say that's all that done now. I just need to water it, but as I say, I'm going to water it when I water the rest. Okay, now my next job, I'm going to be sowing my beetroots. I'm putting them in between the carrots and the parsnips, because you can't plant carrots and parsnips next to each other, so I always put my beetroots in the middle. Got my seeds, got my labels all ready with my pen. I've changed the size of the auger to a smaller one, so I'm literally just going to make holes again and put 2 seeds into each hole, and then as they start growing, just prick out the weaker one to leave the stronger one growing. So rather than doing a whole row and then you're forever pricking out the weak seeds, I find it easier just to make the hole, put 2 seeds in each hole, and then if one doesn't germinate, hopefully the other one does. So I will crack on with this. 3, oops, 4, 5. Right. Okay. So these ones are called Boltardi. I tend to sow these ones because they've always been very reliable for me. So I will just put some in my hand, because they're quite a big seed, and then put 2 in each hole. Push them in, not too deep, probably about 1 inch. Just like that. So as I say, if one doesn't grow, hopefully the other one will, and then you haven't got all that hassle of pricking them all out. So that's just like the one row done. So I'll just see how many rows I can get in here, and then I'll cover it up and water. But I'll water it again, like with the onions, I'll water it all together. Oops. Quite fiddly. As you can see, they're not small, but they're not big, so that it's quite fiddly. That's 2 rows done. I'm going to have to move back. Let's put these back in there for now. Drop one. Alright, and I'll move back. must admit, I wish I'd put my shorts on. But then I've come straight from work and I was like, I needed to get down here quickly to put these in so I can give it a nice water. But yeah, I wish I'd put my shorts on. So I've done 6 rows of 6, so that's what, 6 is 36. I've only spaced them like 6 inches apart because they can grow quite big. I've had quite enormous ones grow in the past of these, so I'm just going to go and get my rake again, finally rake it over, and then just give it a water. I have already got my label sorted from last year. I've just had to change the date, so that's going to go. Actually, I'm going to stick it at the back because when I put my netting up, my carrot fly netting goes all the way around here, and I leave a little door opening. That's why I've not gone right to the end, and a little pathway here so I can get through to weed and whatnot. So I'm just going to put that in there. Okay, so let me quickly go and get my rake. Right, I tend to use the flat end rather than the spiky end because I don't want to rake it, I just want to cover the dirt over and fill in the holes. Okay, so that's that job done. Right, on to the next one now. I'm just going to sow a couple of rows of salad, radish and spring onions, but they're going to be in a bed down there. Pick these up. Okay, before I can sow my lettuces and that, I need to lift this membrane up. I did lift it up earlier in the year to put some chicken pellet manure down just to sort of replenish the soil, and then I'll cover it back up again to hopefully stop the weeds. So I'll just move these bricks. Let's pop them over there. And then just gently lift this up. And then I'm just going to leave it there so I know that that's for this bed. When I put it back, just put a couple of bricks back on so it don't fly away. Right, I'm just going to give it a quick raking just to loosen the soil a bit and get rid of the snails. They like to go in my compost. It's actually quite nice soil down here. It's not clayey at all. Right, so that's just giving that a light raking over. So now I'm just going to go and grab the seeds and my little shovel and my kneeler because the ground's quite hard here. So let's go and grab them now. Let's pop them there, ready for when I sow them. Right, I'm going to make a small trench. I'm going to use this gadget. My son made it for me because I found a hoe was too wide, so it was making too big a trench. So all I'm going to do is just make a tiny little groove like so. All the way down. Probably just about an inch deep. Okay, that's that. Then I'm just going to sow one row of radish now, and this is Scarlet Globe. This is quite a versatile radish to grow, and I've always had good crops for these. They're quite big seeds, but with these I just literally scatter along the trench. Not too many in one spot. Just a few. It's probably half the packet. Okay, that's that. I won't cover it up just yet because I need to mark it where I've put them. So then the next row, I've got 4 different types of lettuce that I want to sow, all year round. Lettuce mixed, iceberg, and a red one called Lola Rossa. So I'm just going to do 4 trenches like that, and then sow 1 in each row. So basically, same principle. I just get my gadget and just make a small trench. They're probably about the same depth, about an inch deep. Just sort of make this a little bit tidier. The weeds. Okay, so that's that. So I'm going to do all year round first. And it's going to be the same. And these are really very tiny little seeds. So they're literally, you can hardly see them. So I'm just going to scatter these along the row. Right, that's that. So I'm going to leave that like that, so then I know where they are. So I'll put them in order of how I sowed them, so I know exactly what I've sowed, and I'll just crack on with the rest. Okay, so looking at the little bit of space I've got left, I don't think I'm going to get many more rows. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do half a row and put in my mixed and my Lola Rossa, so then that gives me a couple of rows for my spring onions. The others I can always grow at home. So just another trench. These lettuces probably will need pricking out, but you can't sow the seeds one by one because, as I say, they are so small. So I'm going to do half of one and half of another in this one. Alright, let's make sure that's nice and flat. Right, so I'm going to start off with the Lola Rossa first part. So at the end of the day, lettuce is lettuce. And I do like my lettuce in the salads. Right, same as the other ones, they're very fine seeds. So I'm literally just going to do half of that one. You can probably see these ones better because they are lighter in colour. that's that one. And then this is the mixed. So this is a mixture of dark and light seeds. So any stones, get out of the way. So just sprinkle along. I didn't have many left in that packet, so that's all that one gone. And then I'll probably get away with 3 rows of spring onions, but I'm only going to do 1 for now because you don't want them all growing and coming up at the same time. So sow them in succession. And they're called White Star. They're quite a nice bulb, size bulb, and I use these for pickling as well as having in salads. So I'll just do another 1 trench for now. These are all probably spaced about 6 inches apart, these rows, which I probably find adequate, because as they grow you just thin the lettuces out and you can have the little shoots as part of your salad, so nothing goes to waste. Alright, let's just even that out. Make sure it's nice and smooth. Alright. Not sure how many seeds you get in this packet. It doesn't actually say. No. So just open them up. Oh, woof! Bumblebee. Ooh. Alright, so let's see how far this packet goes. Might have to sew another. I just gently sew. Well, that's 1 packet. Has done that 1 row. That's good because I've got another 3 packets there, so 2 more packets. Right, I'm just going to go now and get the labels and put them on the end of each. Well, I'm going to put a stick in each end so I know where the rows are and the label of what they're called on the ends. So I'm just going to go and write the labels out. I didn't sew any of them. Whew. Okay, so I've got my label things. I'm just going to put this side, I'm just going to put the end of the row. I haven't written anything on these ones. Just so I know where the rows finish. Oops, that one went a bit skewy. Oops, that one broke. Right, and then these ones are the names and the date of these ones. So this is the Radish garlic globe. This is the all year round lettuce. This is the mixed one of Lola Rossa and headed mixed lettuce. And this is the spring onion White Star. Alright, so get my rake and just very, very gently cover them over using the back end of the rake like before. Right. Oh. Let's just get that up there. Okay, so that's all the little jobs and the things planted for today. I just need now to give it a nice water because it's very warm today, so it's going to need a good soaking. Just hope the birds don't nick the seeds now. Right. So uneven this ground. So, I've put my pump on. If you're interested in the pump, you can see it back on a previous video that I took, and it will have a picture of the pump on the front of it as a thumbnail. Basically, it's just a pump that goes in your water butt. Obviously, I've got my hose. It just saves using watering cans, as I've got quite a big plot to water, so much quicker and easier. So that's most of the watering done. I've just got this last little bit to do. I am going to come back tomorrow because I want to try something that I haven't tried before. I've got some potatoes at home that I've shop bought. I don't know whether you're meant to sow them or not, but when I was checking them the other day, they've got lots and lots of eyes on them. So I'm going to do one row with my potatoes just to see what happens. If they grow, they grow. If they don't, they don't. But I'm going to give it a go. So anyway, I'm going to crack on with this last bit of watering. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed watching. Please like and subscribe to Steph's Veg.